Hello readers! With this video I thought I would share with you one of my favorite genres of books, and that is the Sherlock Holmes pastiche. And that is where contemporary writers offer their own unique takes on Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Victorian era detective. Let's begin with a story that is set earliest in the chronology of Sherlock Holmes's career, and that is Mycroft Holmes by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Anna Waterhouse, centered not so much on Sherlock as it is on his older brother Mycroft. Fresh out of Cambridge University, the young Mycroft Holmes is already making a name for himself in government, working for the Secretary of State for War. Yet this most British of civil servants has ties to the faraway island of Trinidad, the birthplace of his best friend, Cyrus Douglas, a man of African descent, and where his fiancée, Georgiana Sutton, was raised. Mycroft's comfortable existence is overturned when Douglas receives troubling reports from home. There are rumors of mysterious disappearances, strange footprints in the sand, and spirits enticing children to their deaths, their bodies found drained of blood. Upon hearing the news, Georgiana abruptly departs for Trinidad. Near panic, Mycroft convinces Douglas that they should follow her, drawing the two men into a web of dark secrets that grows more treacherous with each step they take. And so one of the unique characteristics of this book is you really get a sense of Britain economically, politically, as a global power. The next book is an anthology of writings by several different authors. It's The Improbable Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. And the premise of this book is based around a quote by Sherlock Holmes that once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, no matter how improbable, must be the truth. So these cases expand upon the familiar environs of Victorian-era London to strange alternate realities, from the gaslit streets of London to the far future. In these pages, you'll find Holmes and Watson investigating ghosts, aliens, pirates, dinosaurs, shapeshifters, evil gods, and criminal masterminds, including the Napoleon of crime, Professor Moriarty. You'll be astounded to learn the truths behind cases alluded to by Watson, but never before documented until now. Whether mystery, fantasy, horror, or science fiction, no puzzle is too challenging for the great detective. Well, speaking of the Napoleon of crime, in 1891, a horrified British public learned that Sherlock Holmes, in a last deadly struggle with the arch-criminal Professor Moriarty, had perished in the Reichenbach Falls in Switzerland. 2 years later, of course, he is seemingly resurrected from the dead, where he informs a stunned Dr. Watson, "I traveled for 2 years in Tibet, therefore, and amused myself by visiting Lhasa." So here, by Jamyang Norbu, is the Mandala of Sherlock Holmes, and this reveals the previously untold story of Holmes's adventures in Lhasa, Tibet. And the narrator of the story actually comes from a contemporary of Sir Conan Doyle. That would be the character of Huri Chunder Mukherjee from Kim by Kipling. So altogether, a very unique story, unlike any that I had previously read before. All right, contemporaneous to Sherlock Holmes's supposed death at Reichenbach Falls, here is the account of Big Red and Old Red Amlingmeyer, 1893, in Montana, where they are working as ranch hands at the secretive Bar VR cattle spread. They're not expecting much more than hard work, bad pay, and a comfortable campfire around which they can enjoy their favorite pastime, scouring Harper's Weekly for stories about the famous Sherlock Holmes. The book, of course, is Holmes on the Range by Steve Hockensmith. When the boys come across a dead body that looks a whole lot like the leftovers of an unfortunate encounter with a cattle stampede, Old Red sees the perfect opportunity to employ his Holmes-inspired deducifying skills. Putting his ranch work squarely on the back burner, he sets out to solve the case. And his brother Big Red, like it or not, and mostly he does not, is along for the wild ride in this clever, compelling, and completely one-of-a-kind mystery. And this book launched an entire series of books featuring the Amlingmeyer brothers as Old Red set out to reinvent himself as a consulting detective. And my final selection, another anthology, Observations by Gaslight, Stories from the World of Sherlock Holmes by Lyndsay, Faye. This book represents a thrilling volume of short stories and novellas narrated by those who knew the great detective. Beloved adventuress Irene Adler teams up with her former adversary in a deadly inquiry into a room full of eerily stopped grandfather clocks. Learn of the case that cemented the lasting friendship between Holmes and Inspector Lestrade, and of the tragic crime that haunted the Yarder and led him to join the police force. And witness Stanley Hopkins' first meeting with the remote logician he idolizes, who will one day become his devoted mentor. Well, folks, I hope that piqued your interest into a character and genre that I really enjoy. Happy reading, everybody.